particular video is very speculative, and I want to say that up front that everything within this video is my opinion, right? Let's make that extremely clear before we dive into this particular subject. But to me, this is a very interesting subject, and not everything, of course, is going to be speculative within the video, right? Because what would be the point of the video? And so we're going to dive into a lot of like actual sensitive areas and what is kind of to me developing to be like the perfect storm within this. It's like I'm honestly like a bit worried about this overall. So just putting out my thoughts overall on this subject for like the very first time, decided to kind of just want to document my thoughts more on this subject, and I think this is a good time to do it. So the very first thing that I want to highlight within this, like problem number one, right, of this perfect storm, is that AI inherently has a recency bias problem. This is AI across the board, right? AI is fed off of data. AI loves data. AI loves more recent data more than it loves historical data. Like 100-year-old data to an AI model is trash. 50-year-old, trash. 20-year-old, that's in that 20-year period, that's where the AI looks at, and that's where it focuses on, right? So that's again, I'm flagging this like red alert, like alarm bells going off. Problem number one, right? And then so why is this problem number one? I mean, so let's look at the very first graph here on Google, right? Very first graph of this economic figures, and then what we can see is that we did have an economic downturn. Actually, this is a bad graph because this is like a few years. Perfect. Look. So this the model is essentially looking at from this like trough period, like the low period of 2004 up until essentially what we're looking at in 2022, and then this is investment in manufacturing structures. This is Dow Jones winning streaks from '09 to 2018. This is let's see. These are kind of bad trends, but okay, this is a really perfect here. Top 1% on, okay, this is perfect inequality. So this is, again, like this is and this is very biased data here, right? So then the AI model is getting fed very biased data within this overall. I guess the point and the trend that I'm trying to make here is that there's a few problems of just looking at the last 20 years of historical economic data. The first one is that ignores 2,000 years of economic data as to how we got there, before we got there, everything else, which is pretty significant to me. And then the second thing is that like the 20-year, this last 20-year period has been an exception in economics and across for a lot of reasons, right? Like we're in a historical territory economically across the board for the last 20 years. That's the baseline of this model. The second thing, and the most alarming part of this from the economic perspective is that this AI model hasn't seen an economic downturn. That's the key part of this, right? It hasn't seen a major economic collapse of a first world economy. It has zero data on that. According to an AI model that's trained on these things, that doesn't happen. It can't happen. It doesn't have data on it. Like it's data in, data out. That's how the models work, right? And then so what these models have, just pointing it out very explicitly and very clearly within this, is an economic model that they're trained on where the economy only goes up. And then so the next factor that I want to get into is this, like, let's talk and go over here. And then so this is again like a very common chart, right? And this is just one industry. This is the food industry. And then so what this chart represents is that like no matter what you eat or kind of like what you're putting onto your body as far as health and body care, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 big corporations that are owning all of that. Anything, like anything, is what is showing under this, right? Like this is the consolidation of food umbrella. And then so the next thing, so I just want to point and at this moment, like this is problem number two, right? Like massive red alert alarm bells going off. Problem number two is this massive consolidation across industries, right? Like that and this is just one industry. This is just the food industry. We could pick multiple industries, and the next industry that we're going to go to is real estate, right? Which is another massive consolidation industry. But other industries that I'm thinking of that are extremely consolidated like this would be like especially like gas prices, oil, lots of things, right? Where there's a very small amount of players within these particular markets overall. And then so now let's go to essentially like alarm bell number three problem, right? This is like red alert number three, right? And then like these three factors combined are the like we're effed. so uh, like so this is called Yield Star, and then Yield Star is an investment analytics powered by MPF Research. And then if you look at how this breaks down, is that like 90% of like investment real estate is powered by this algorithm, by this one, and then 90% of the users of this algorithm just blanket accept what the algorithm says. Yes, yes, yes. The algorithm, this algorithm is designed to increase rent prices, to increase home prices, to set prices for investment real estate. That's what it does, right? And then so this, again, going back, and then we combine all these factors, these algorithms, it's never seen an economic downturn. Like it doesn't equate, and in this algorithm's calculations, it doesn't compute that economic collapse can happen. It doesn't have data on that. It doesn't put it in as an assumption. It's only going to raise prices. We're going to is economic data up overall? Yes, we're going to raise prices. We're going to raise prices. Like I think, I mean, again, like so. This is where it gets speculative, right? Like we've had a lot of, especially like this last few years, right? Like a lot of kind of sketchy price raises across the board and across like multiple different industries and different things, and I think I think that a lot of industries like the ones that we've just pointed out and like are powered by Yield Star and these similar types of algorithms where the algorithms are they don't like it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out, right? That and like if you know anything about AI, they're biased. So no matter what, like you can, I mean, you could give it 2,000 years of data to track. Sure, you can do that. It's gonna throw it out in 1980 years of it, right? Because it just that's how it works. Like that's just recency bias. Like that's part of the math. There's no way around that. Problem number one. Problem number two is that we have the model has even if you do that, it has there's very few instances over that 2,000 year period where economies have just all of a sudden exploded, right? And then it's like very simple factors to avoid in hindsight when economies have just exploded, and then just don't do those factors. And then AI doesn't generalize well overall, right? So it's just don't do those specific factors is how it recognizes and how it calculates that. As long as you avoid those scenarios, like you avoid the specific scenario that caused like the Great Depression, you're never going to have a Great Depression again, according to AI. AI doesn't even know what a Great Depression is. Even if it does, it doesn't care because the Great Depression was 100 years ago, and that's like dinosaur age to AI overall. And that's how all of this equation breaks down and why it's very, very bad to just blanket rely on all these algorithms are just going to increase my rent, right? Like, oh, it's amazing, yay, yay, yay. Okay, you are going to ruin this whole economy on a scale that we've never seen before, and I think we're already starting to see the impacts of that. Again, this is speculative, but just pointing these things out to you. So if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.